Good evening, fans of the 6-2 Derrick Henry-less Tennessee Titans. Come on in. Let's have a little halftime chat and then get back to see what the Giants and the Chiefs are going to do here while the Mannings do some babbling. I almost forgot the Mannings were on tonight, and I was watching a little bit of the regular telecast before I flipped over. I was missing out. It was a shame. Come on in. How you doing? Cheers. Weird day. I'm sure you're happy about the win and the big lead in the division, and sad about Derrick's fate and everything that's going on. Henry could conceivably get back in 9 weeks. Worst thing they could do is rush him. And I think it is a bit crazy to think that you're going to plop him back in the game and get Derrick Henry that you're used to. I would not expect him for last couple regular season games or the playoff game to be a 25, 30 carry guy who's going to get you 155 yards and multiple touchdowns. But, he's unusual. So you just don't know what the timetable is for him to be ready. Got to wait and see. And, when we get near that time, it'll be a daily question. It's more typically a wide receiver injury, lighter guys who aren't putting as much of a strain on that foot. It's an injury that undid Javon Curse. He was never the same player after he suffered the injury against the Eagles. So just going to have to wait and be patient. $11 weeks would be, first weekend of the playoffs. We will see. In the meantime, they're going to have to, make some major adjustments to who they are, how they operate. Adrian Peterson is in-house. I'd like to see an additional move. I fear maybe that they're going with Peterson and what they have. But trade deadline's tomorrow. There are a lot of running backs on a lot of practice squads out there. They've got Hilliard. They've got Sargent. They've got McNichols, who's done a good job on third down, but only had 7 handoffs this season. They're going to have to throw it more. More goes on Tannehill's shoulder. Tannehill's got a bad neck after the sack late in that game. They need Julio Jones to resurface and to make the passing offense everything that it can be. Need the defense to step up. Everybody's got to step up and take a little bit of off of what would have been Henry's plate. I don't know about David Sargent, but Mekhi Sargent. I don't know why you hope. This confuses me. I don't know what anybody thinks is special about this guy, but you should be rooting for somebody to arrive tomorrow who's better than Mekhi Sargent, not rooting for Mekhi Sargent to get carries. Fulton could be back as soon as this week. If they rush the passer with 4 the way they have most of the time recently, it's conceivable they survive with those cornerbacks. But I don't think with those cornerbacks and without Henry. So. Oh, they're still going to make the playoffs. I mean, they, I was writing a scenario out today. They'd have to go 2-7, and the Colts would have to win their 4 gimmies, which I think is it's either 2 against Houston or 2 against Jacksonville, 1 against the other one against the Jets this Thursday night, and then they'd have to win 2 of 5 games against a very tough slate. This is just one scenario, but I mean, the Titans would have to only go 2-7 in order to give the Colts a chance to win their 4 easy games and then win 2 of their 5 difficult games. And their 5 difficult games are, so their easy games are Jets, Jags, at Texans, at Jags. And we know the Jets have beaten Cincinnati and the Titans. And then they have to win 2 of at Bills, Bucks, Patriots, at Cards, Raiders. Titans are going to win more than 2 games. So that's how difficult the slate the Colts would look at to try to get themselves in. The Titans are going to win the division. I'm a little confused by this question. How stubborn and arrogant do I think Vrabel and the Titans will be after the Derrick Henry injury now? Why would it make them more stubborn and arrogant? I mean, I think Vrabel's shown himself to actually be flexible when he needs to be in terms of game plan and finding ways to win without his best people. I don't know that that's an area where the stubbornness and the arrogance shows itself. So I don't really get that question. Jeff, you don't know me. Anytime I'm in here and you ask me any news on something of substance, I'm not coming in here to share news. If I have news, if I feel like somebody else is going to get the news, I tweet it. If I feel like I've got 15 to 20 minutes with the news, I write a post as fast as I can and I post it. Those are my news delivery systems. My news delivery systems aren't member chats. Vrabel on a Monday is never going to tell us Julio Jones's status on a Wednesday. He'd tell us to check on Wednesday. Do you think they're only going to lose 3 more games? I don't know. I think they lose this weekend. Could take them a while to find their footing here. Trip to the Patriots is tough. Saints can be a tough team, even without Jameis Winston matchup-wise. And they still might not have their stuff together. That's tough defense. They're capable of shitting the bed like they did against the Jets. I think that's kind of optimistic. He's not a top 4 to 5 quarterback in the league. So I think it would be very difficult for Ryan Tannehill to prove himself a top 5 quarterback in the league because he's not a top 5 quarterback in the league. I mean, aren't we getting a little ambitious there? Slightly over ambitious there? Wish I had standings in front of me. Let's ponder that for a moment. You take Tom Brady ahead of him. You take Patrick Mahomes ahead of him, even if Mahomes is struggling right now. He's playing better tonight. You take Allen ahead of him, or you should. You take Lamar Jackson ahead of him. I'm not even going to go to the kids yet. All right, that was AFC so far. Or no, Brady. You take Rodgers ahead of him. This is on first pass. You take Stafford and Kyler Murray ahead of him. That's 7. Now we want to go a little bit younger. Take Prescott ahead of him. That's 8. Take Burrow ahead of him. That's 9. Take Herbert ahead of him. That's 10. 11th at best. Or top 5. Yes. As for the Edelman question, here's your answer. Well, leadership needs to step up. Vrabel talked about this today. All the other leaders need to step up. Derrick Henry's turned into a hell of a locker room leader. But Henry will be around as soon as he's able, so he'll still have some sort of presence. But I got to tell you, guys did not step into the huddle and look around to consider who's not in the huddle. They look around at who is in the huddle. We got to win with those other 10 guys who are in the huddle. It's like when a big free agent leaves, you don't walk into the huddle and think about who's not there. It's no way to win football games. Because they don't give a fuck, Steven. I checked in on Henry after the game last night. Got some I don't knows. I mean, the one thing you can say about Henry, if you're trying to paint this as not as bad, he's not in on the majority of third downs, only third and short. So he's a 2-down back predominantly, 2 1/4 down back. And he's not part of their 2-minute, and they're going to be in 2-minute in a lot of games, especially the games he's not in. He wouldn't be in the 2-minute drives of the games that he's not in, if that makes any sense. It's predominantly the agents, but you don't know where everything comes from. Don't be so sure. You love the utilization of Henry, but you do feel as if Downing called too many runs that seem to be empty throwaway plays. I don't think they call any plays thinking they're throwaway plays, especially against 9 players in the box. There's a method to that. Sometimes he breaks big runs against 9 players in the box because if he gets through the initial line, then there's hardly anybody behind him. All he has to do is beat a defensive back. Also, some of those runs help control time of possession. I understand if you made it through, he was gone. All right, you get there. But more times than not, he was stopped 2 to 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage. That's not accurate. If he was stopped more times than not 2 to 3 yards behind the line of scrimmage, his average would not be what it is. Shouldn't have put that one up. I don't know. I mean, they could do something at the trade deadline. John Robinson's not going to be anxious to give up value picks. And, I think there are probably some running backs. I'd be anxious for them to comb some practice squads If you had Peterson, a good practice squad running back, Sergeant Hilliard, maybe that's enough. Maybe you could get a decent running back for a sixth. I'd like to see a tight end, frankly. Or maybe even a cornerback. Yeah, Gurley would be a mistake. Gurley's got terrible knees. Yeah, I don't think this is wrong. I don't think this is right. Tannehill either proves all of his doubters wrong or gets exposed down the stretch. There's nothing wrong with Ryan Tannehill being part of a team that has a good running back. And so if the Titans can't execute play action without Derrick Henry, and if it proves too big a loss, I mean, they're going to the playoffs. But if they lose in the playoffs and Ryan Tannehill can't carry them alone, I mean, he'll take a lot of flack for it. But nobody's saying that Ryan Tannehill is bigger than the Titans system. I think it's odd that he gets criticized for being effective as part of a system. Isn't a team supposed to put its quarterback in a system that he can succeed in? Isn't the job of a team to get the best out of its players, find a shape, find a way for their key players, for its best players to succeed? The Titans have done that with Ryan Tannehill. Run-based offense, play action heavy. So if the running game disappears and the play action goes with it, that's largely a result of the personnel. If Ryan Tannehill can't elevate to be more than that, well, I think we know he's not more than that. He's not Aaron Rodgers. He's not Tom Brady. I don't know. I hope for his sake and for the Titans' sake he can do more. But I think if and when he doesn't do more, it's not going to be like, oh my God, Ryan Tannehill couldn't do it. I don't know that the expectation is that Ryan Tannehill can carry this team by himself. They are going to need to have a functional run game. They're going to need to have a functional Julio Jones. Yeah. The defense is going to need to play a notch better. The offensive line is going to need to protect a notch better because it's not going to be benefiting from play action, et cetera, et cetera. I can't find that comment to take it down. There it is. He's a better player, a better quarterback in play action than he is in straight drop back. So I don't know. Dependent seems like a crutch word. He's very good at play action. There's nothing wrong with being very good at play action. And Foreman's out there now. I would consider signing him unless he's really dropped off. There are practice squad rosters of the league all over Google. I mean, I don't know. I'm not a draftnik, so a bunch of rookie or second year running backs, I'm not going to be able to tell you who's good and who's not. Draftniks would be able to, and the Titans certainly should know then. Yeah, Jim, they're going to need Peterson for more than a few games is the thing. You don't have to review the practice squad constantly. You've scouted the guy coming out of college. You scouted him if he plays in games. You're scouting other teams on a regular basis. You know who's on the practice squad. So you've got walls and files of that. When you need a running back, you turn to your running back file. It's not like you're seeing any film of practice squad people. They're practicing. You can't see other people's practices. I got to plug in my computer. Hold on. Oh, damn it. I might run out there. If I do, I'm sorry. Somebody took my extension cord. Well, we'll take a couple more before this dies. Extension cord's been moved. Titans O-line is definitely better run blocking than pass blocking. And that is another difficulty if they shift more to the pass game, or if the play action is less believed, which it will be. Peterson is not commanding 8-man boxes at 36 until he has some success, if he has some success. Darrington Evans wasn't going to do anything here. Every team does it. Every team doesn't do it with the success the Titans do it. Jordan Wilkins could be worth a look. Ivan, the question isn't about getting into the playoffs. They're getting into the playoffs. The question is about their ability to have success in the playoffs. Is that what he's paid a lot of money for? I mean, he's paid a lot of money to go perform under any circumstances, but I don't think there's a line in his contract about like, hey, when Derrick Henry goes down, we expect you to carry us. This team is built in a way that it's not going to survive well if one of two people goes down for an extended period of time. Derrick Henry, 1, Ryan Tannehill, 2. Every team has a couple guys who fit that bill. They put Henry on IR. They also activated Munyer, so they must have had a spot. This is very true. Ed Henry says, funny, same people who are saying we can win without Henry were standing on tables for Henry as MVP. Yeah, take the MVP off the team and it's just fine. No, John Robinson's not going to act like the Rams and dump most of his draft picks to gather up veterans to chase the Super Bowl while they're in their window. He's given up his second-round pick already for Julio Jones, who's not paying much dividends, but I think that would pretty much guarantee his first-round pick and his third-round pick are staying put. These are not second and third string running backs in Kansas City and Cleveland. I mean, maybe their third string running backs are good, but their second running backs are like, co-number one running backs. Those are guys who get a third of the carries, not guys who are backups to bell cows. That's a different deal. All right, close to wrap here. Very casual, very confident here. We'll finish on this. Eric North says it'll be interesting to see how they manufacture additional touches for AJ without Henry. Additional short plays, pitches, etc. I don't know about that, but they got to get the ball to AJ and earlier. I don't know how you go a quarter and a half in the modern NFL without getting touches for your number one wide receiver. Obviously, 10 catches on 11 targets for 155 yards and a touchdown was great. Imagine what it might have been if they deemed him worthy of a touch in the first, 15, 20 minutes of that game. Could have been better. Hey, appreciate you coming. Don't block the box. Do lock the locks. Outkick 360, 2 to 5 Central tomorrow. Check it out. We'll be talking at all of this stuff and much more with Hutton and Withrow. Don't miss it. Have a good night. Enjoy the rest of the game. Thanks for coming.